Hey guys, welcome to another Gabby's Talk. Today I just really want to talk about letting go and starting to glow. How do we, and also don't mind these, I was line dancing, this shows that I'm underage. But part of letting go and starting to glow, what exactly is glowing? Everyone has a certain aura around them. There's a presence, there's a vibe you can feel. Whether it's that girl who just left her toxic relationship and she's now thriving, rosy cheeks, bigger smile, or someone who just quit that job that was draining them and they're finally free. There's a glow around someone when they are free from the things that are tearing their soul down and that conflict with what their heart desires. So we all want to be that person who glows. But what prevents us from shining at our brightest? What prevents us from glowing? And often that comes from letting something or someone constantly dim your light. These people or things make it impossible to be at the brightest potential you can be at because they're constantly dimming your light. It's like constantly sprinkling water over a flame. If you keep sprinkling the water, the flame might be there, but eventually it's gonna die. And you don't want that. You want your glow. And part of letting go and starting to grow is emotionally detaching. Emotional detachment is such it's so villainized. People think it is so mean, and especially me growing up as like a people pleaser, always being like, oh, but I really don't want to hurt these people's feelings. Like, this is such a terrible thing for me to do. I should just, cut it off, slightly, or just say no every once in a while. No. Emotional detachment is setting a boundary. And setting a boundary between you or something is the healthiest thing you can do, not only for yourself, but for the other person. If you don't set that boundary and you don't cut them off in your life, you are not only leading them into thinking you want a fulfilling, prosperous life with them, but you're tearing yourself down in the process too. Why would you let someone think that you are on the same page with them, same goals, same life endeavors, when you are not? That is selfish. That just shows that you are not willing to leave that person or that thing because you are comfortable in that. Why are you living in comfortability? Why are you living like this? We were not made to live in just comfort 24/7 because that is not how someone grows. When a plant breaks out of its seed, when it grows, right? Obviously plants don't feel pain, but imagine it as like a human. It has to break through something. Like when a sea turtle breaks through its shell when it hatches, there is pain when it comes through breaking through and growing. There are growing pains, like shin splints. Yeah, they hurt. And I myself, as a short person, never really had shin splints. From the people that I've talked to, shin splints hurt. And they are part of growth that happens when you grow a lot. So the only way sometimes that we can grow is by going through this pain, by setting these boundaries and cutting people off. I'm so sick and tired of people just staying with these people in their life, just staying comfortable in the same routine, job, work schedule, school, friends, you name it, and they're miserable in it. Why would you have 80 years on this life, give or take a couple decades, and you're gonna spend it pleasing people? I'm sorry, is that even a life to live? Is that a life even worth living? So part of emotional detachment is, number one, find out why you need to emotionally detach. Like, what is the genuine reason behind it? Are you just being like, oh, this person, they weren't on my good side today? No. Are they constantly, repeatedly doing things that offend you? Are they constantly, repeatedly doing things that go against your will, that go against your purpose, that go against your goals, your power, your just drive in life? What are they doing that makes you feel like you should emotionally detach? If you're in a toxic situation, relationship, friendship, you name it, biggest reason to emotionally detach. But another reason to emotionally detach is just like, if your emotional investment in them is not yielding good fruit, it's time for you to detach. And what I mean by this is, if you are constantly pouring into someone and they're not pouring into you, or if you are constantly pouring into someone and you are not seeing benefits of that relationship grow, and you are not seeing, and I'm not taking this as a give a take, like, oh, I invested, this is not like stocks where you invest $10 into something and you expect 100 back. What I'm saying is, if you invest something into someone, there's supposed to be a relationship that grows. There's supposed to be a beneficial relationship, not just you feel happy with this person. Emotions are fleeting. You can feel happy with anyone you want. There's 10 billion people in this world. I'm sorry, just this one person can't just make you just happy. There has to be more. Does this person make you feel fulfilled in life? Does this person uplift you? Are they honest with you? Is this a genuine friendship? Is this a genuine relationship? Or there's something that you're pouring into? Are you pouring into your job? Are you pouring into just any passion that you have in your life? And are you seeing that produce good fruits? Are you seeing others benefit from this? Are you seeing yourself benefit from this? Are you seeing the world around you benefit from this? Are you seeing growth? And if you're not, I'm sorry, that is time for you to emotionally detach. Because this is not just some investment where you give and take some from people. This isn't transactional. This is growth. This is determining whether or not, if you are the emotional energy that you're pouring into someone, if it's coming back to you. If you're going to get some type of form of energy, good energy, beneficial energy, energy that just helps you, that helps others around you, that helps you grow. If that isn't the case, it is time to emotionally detach. And third, I kind of want to take this, I'm a Christian, so I take this from a very religious view, but I want to be able to kind of expand this. So hear me out on my verse, and I kind of just want to expand on that. It is, I believe, 2 Timothy, I have my notes right here, 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 22, where it talks about fleeing from bad things, fleeing from evil, not being yoked or tied together with unbelievers. And I would like to clarify, this doesn't mean I can't be friends with people who don't believe in Jesus. I'm sorry, that's ridiculous. That's not what the Bible said. But in essence, this is saying, if there are people who are chasing evil around you, if there are people who are not on the same mindset as you, if they don't have not even just similar goals, but a very similar mindset, values, outlook on life, if they don't have that, and they don't have beneficial values, they don't have beneficial goals, that's someone you need to emotionally detach from, because you are the 5 people you surround yourself with. So if you're constantly surrounding yourself with people who subconsciously, these people might not even tell you, like, oh, you should do drugs. No, these people could subconsciously be bringing you down, and you wouldn't even know it. You wouldn't even know what these people are doing to you, because you're constantly being exposed to this lazy mindset, a mindset that doesn't want to grow, a mindset that doesn't want the best for its future. And you wouldn't even know. So that is why you have to be so hyper vigilant of those around you, what you surround you, even the content you consume. What type of content are you consuming? Do you wake up every day and doom scroll? And I know for a fact, so many of us wake up, get our daily blue light screen time in just to wake ourselves up. But the content that you're consuming first thing in the morning especially is so crucial to how your brain works. You're literally turning your brain waves from its relaxed state to pure focus alpha theta waves. Like that when you open up your phone first thing in the morning, right? The content you consume starts to determine who you are. So if you're surrounding yourself with content that is not good, whether it is the music you listen to, yeah, that music artist that spits every cuss word known to man and degrades every person on this planet and does not see them as God's child, yeah, they may have fire music, but that is not good for you. Do you not see? They are not good for you. The content you consume is not good for you. And the people you surround yourself with, if they do not have a good mindset, you too will not have a good mindset. And if you want to better yourself, and if you want to grow, if you want to achieve things in life, if you actually want to change yourself and you want to have this glow, you have to stop hanging around people who are diminishing your glow. So make yourself aware of this, of like, who am I surrounding myself? What am I surrounding myself with? And last of all, it is time to emotionally detach when the people around you are bringing down your faith. Whether you're religious or not, there are certain morals and values we all believe in. Whether it is to be a good person, whether it's to love others as to love ourselves, like the golden rule, right? Or just overall good morals. And if these people are detracting from your faith, and every time you're with them, your faith worsens because they incite you to do this, or they just lack of action from their part, no respect, either them subconsciously pushing their values on you, subconsciously, instead of respecting your, let's say you have a moral of, I am pure, I don't want to drink, right? If people are subconsciously burdening you with the feeling of being able to drink, and this is just small, so this is just a small analogy. If they're constantly burdening you with that idea of like, oh, you have to drink in order to fit in with us, then that's not a good friendship. That's something you need to emotionally detach from. So in a religious aspect, if your faith and your relationship with God worsens the closer they become to you, and in an overall aspect, if your morals and your values are disrespected by them, leave them. In the kindest way possible, I'm telling you, why are you surrounding yourself with people who can't even respect what you believe in? And not only respect it, but uphold that. Because with respect comes helping you. With respect comes upholding those values. So many people could say, I respect that. And then they'll go do the opposite thing right behind your back and tell you to do so. Or they'll make you feel left out if you don't do it. Or they'll purposely exclude you if you don't do it. That's not a friend. That's not a partner. That's not someone you should be around with. So those are 4, 5-ish really good reasons. And the first stage of glowing up is how to emotionally detach. So I'm gonna probably like have a little summary at the end so that way you can see everything. But I really hope that helped there. And next is, okay, if you decided that it is right for you to emotionally detach, like those reasons really stuck out to you, and I hope you have your own personal reasons too. Like, this is just a guideline. I hope you genuinely journal this down, talk through this with someone, or have a deep discussion with even just yourself as to why you should emotionally detach. And once you are solid on your why, the rest becomes so much easier. I kid you not, I had to journal pages upon pages of why, how, when I should emotionally detach. And healing has never been easier. Oh my goodness. So, how to emotionally detach. I'm gonna incorporate a lot of different biblical and worldly principles, so bear with me. I want to kind of fuse this towards an audience of everyone. So number 1 is prayer. Now, whether you see prayer as a form of meditation, as a way of talking to God, or a way of manifesting in your journal, you name it, prayer moves mountains. If you ask for guidance from whatever you believe in, I believe in God, so I go to God and I ask him, and I break down to him all the time. I tell him, hey God, I am struggling with this. Please guide me. When you break down and you are vulnerable, number 1 out of all this is being so vulnerable. Because when you're trying to emotionally detach from someone, it is so hard. Don't underestimate that. Don't think that you have to hide it all in. Don't think you have to put on this mask and be like, oh, well, this person didn't matter that much to me. Yeah, they did. If you have to go through all these steps and find a video on it, it matters to you. And that's okay. It should matter to you. Someone who, or something that affects your life so deeply should matter to you because your life matters. So I'm glad that you're starting here and that you need to be vulnerable and admit that. Start with vulnerability. And in that vulnerability, you can go to your source of comfort. You can go to God. You can go to the universe. You can go to your manifestation journal. You can pray, meditate, ask for guidance, and realize that you cannot do this on your own. You cannot do this just thinking you can bottle all your emotions up and not healthily express them. It takes time, it takes effort, and it takes you genuinely being at peace with where you are right now. Admit the situation. Yeah, life's not all cupcakes and rainbows, unfortunately. I wish it was. But that's the beautiful thing of it all, is that we don't have to have it all together. We're human. You think we're put on this earth like happily, joyfully frolicking in the meadows? Girl, I couldn't even walk for 2 years. What made you think I'd be perfect? I couldn't speak, I couldn't walk, I came out the womb crying. We are not perfect. So number 1, pray, meditate, be vulnerable. Number 2, this is something where if you're in the process of emotionally detaching, tie up loose ends. And I don't mean go back with your ex and tell them how much you love them. Does it look like No. What I'm saying is that you need to tie up the loose ends in yourself. Now, if you have the opportunity to go to the other person and confess to them what you did, or something that's been burdening your heart, or the reason, if you can't hold it in, tell them, hey, I think you are not good for me in the current situation that I'm in. I mean this in no hateful way. I confess this to you. And forgiveness. So many people have wronged us. And part of a lot of emotional detachment starts because someone wronged us. And we can choose to live the rest of our life in such a vengeful, holding on to a grudge way. We could just hold on to this grudge for the rest of our life. Yeah, that person wronged me. Yeah, that person cheated on me. Yeah, that person wished on my downfall. You could say so many things, and you could dwell on that. Like, yeah, they did wrong you, and you're justified to be mad. You're righteously mad. It hurts when someone does you wrong. But it is about forgiveness. Forgiveness is not just for the other person. That's one of the biggest misconceptions, is that people think that in order to forgive a person, you're giving up a part of yourself. You're giving up your, almost validation, I would say. The only thing you're giving up in forgiveness is your ego. We are called to be humbled. We're not called to live a life where we think, and I would like to clarify, humility, selfishness, and confidence are very different things. Selfishness revolves around the idea that everything revolves around you and that no one else's needs should ever exist, and that we are called just to live for ourselves, every man for himself. Humility, on the other hand, expresses the thought that, yes, it is very important to prioritize yourself. I would love to clarify that. Mental health, self-help, every help, that matters, self-control. But in a way, humility also puts others' needs before ourselves. And in a way, when we forgive, we are called to lay down our selfishness. We are called to lay down our humility. And you may think, well, how the hell am I supposed to heal if I'm over here putting myself down and not prioritizing myself and giving in to others' needs? And you're totally valid for thinking that, but I'd like to flip the script on that. Forgiveness is not giving in to someone's needs. It is first prioritizing yours, really. It's prioritizing your health and your relationship within yourself. Because if you forgive someone, it's almost like you released a burden off your chest. It's like if you tied yourself with a bunch of rocks and you jumped into a lake, right? You're gonna sink. Forgiveness removes the rocks. It removes the bondage. Because forgiveness is verbally removing yourself from that person. It is verbally saying, I forgive you for the wrong that you did to me. I forgive you for what you have done. Does not mean you go back to them. Does not mean you have to be besties with them. Does not mean you have to go back to that laborious job. Does not mean you have to go back to that thing that's always been killing you. No. But what it does mean is that you forgive it. And you let go. Forgiveness is letting go. I use this story a lot, especially as a Christian. And I find it so powerful. And it is a pretty basic story. It's what the whole religion's, it's what Christianity is based off of, is when Jesus was being crucified, the first thing he did was say, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they are doing. This man lived such a perfect, blameless life. He had no reason to be killed. Like, if there was one person that you could feel so justified in not being killed, would have been him, right? And this is just me saying my beliefs, so bear with me. And even then, the most selfless act he could do was forgive them. He was being killed, nails driven through his palm and his feet. He forgave them. So it makes me think, why can't we forgive the people who have hurt us? Because if Jesus can forgive the very people who killed him, if people can forgive, and there's so many different instances, there's so many different stories of just forgiveness. We are called to forgive, and I just hope that in your process of emotionally detaching, that you can forgive, confess, and forgive. And if you want me to make another video on forgiveness, I'd totally love to do that, because I feel like forgiveness is such an underrated topic. No one talks about it, and it makes me so mad because it's so misunderstood. So I low-key might do another video on that, so that way we can move on. Number 3, firm boundaries and no contact. This is what everyone talks about, no contact. Yeah. When pertaining to an ex, you should not be contacting your ex. Girl, what are you doing? Why? Why are we going back to this person? You set the boundary, you forgave them, you confessed, whatever, you prayed about it, you know this person's not right for you, you validated in every way. Why are you going back to the person who hurt you? Why are you going back? Forgiveness doesn't mean you go back. Set those firm boundaries. When you are emotionally detaching from something, someone, if you're emotionally detaching from your strong work ethic that keeps you working so much that it becomes an addiction, you need to set boundaries. You need to set a planner, a schedule. I need this much time off. Setting habits is the greatest thing. I love scheduling in my little calendar little breaks throughout the day, because I know I do have very workaholic tendencies. But part of that is recognizing that and working with it. I love taking my little reading breaks. I love doing my little TED Talks. I love just yapping, if you couldn't tell. There's so many different ways to set firm boundaries with yourself, and that's more personal. But the biggest boundary I'd recommend is going no contact. No contact with a friend, no contact with an ex, and no contact with the addictions that are holding you back. So whether it's work, whether it's alcohol, whether it's drugs, set boundaries and no contact. Just don't do it. There's really no other method. Maybe I could make another video on this, but just don't. Opposite of Nike out here, okay? Just don't. And number 4, and I found this so powerful. I was doing a bit of research on this, and just kind of gathering data from different psychologists, different biblical leaders. And the most powerful thing I found is replace what you're losing by giving this person up. I feel like a lot of times, and this is the thing, I'm not gonna lie, I personally struggle with this a lot too, is you're subtracting so much from your life and emotionally detaching from this. There's gonna be a void of something, a void of someone, something that used to be there when you emotionally detach, and it sucks. No one wants to have that void in them. It hurts. It's like a hole in your heart. Hole in your heart, you can't function properly. Your blood can't be pumped all the way through your body. If there's a hole in your heart, you'd probably be dead. So in the same way, when we're subtracting so much from our lives, and it's for the best reason, I hope you know that, our natural biological instinct is just to kind of fall back into sadness, back into depression, anxiety. And this is the part where so many people trip up in emotional detachment, is because we are constantly subtracting, and we pride ourselves off of subtracting these things from our life. It's good. You're accomplishing so much. I'm so proud of you for emotionally detaching. But then there's the other part where there's a void, and that void needs to be filled. And I think one of the best ways that void can be filled is by being fulfilled in yourself. No void can be filled with materialism, with temporary pleasures. And the things that we fill our void with, that's what matters the most. Because at the end of the day, you could focus on getting the entire roster, all the girls, all the boys, what you name it, okay? You could focus your time and effort on getting the best grades. You could focus your time and effort on getting the most money, and it's great. Nothing against those things, okay? Do what floats your boat. Like, achieve the goals you've always wanted. But keep in mind, that's never gonna fill a void. So how do we fill that void? Well, we first have to recognize, what do we miss? What are we missing from what we removed in our life? And I use a popular example of an ex, but this can be applied to many different scenarios. When you break up with someone, whether they cheated on you, you guys are on different paths in your life, you name it, there's a void of that person for a while. There is a strong emotional connection. And sometimes we miss the romantic gestures, having your hand be held, being cared for, fun dates, you name it. But all of that, once we subtract that out of our lives, which is great, it's great for a season, we need to fill it in with goodness. We need to fill it in with genuinely everything that we talked about before, whether it be prayer, finding a good set of structure, morals, religion, to just abide in daily, finding yourselves a routine, habits that you can stick to. Try a couple new hobbies, invest into your health, your spiritual, mental, and physical health. So, and for all three, if you don't have all three, I'm gonna personally slap you through the screen somehow. You need all three. Anyways, I digress. You need to fill these voids with good, fulfilling things. And the most fulfilling thing you can do is invest in yourself. Invest in yourself. Invest in your relationship with a higher power, whether it be through whatever religion you believe in, whether it's through manifestation, whether it's through just your overall energy balance, whether it's through trusting in God, trusting in a higher power. Fill that void with something that's gonna empower you to be the best version of yourself. Because at the end of the day, emotional detachment, it stemmed from not being the best version of yourself because someone or something was dragging you down. Someone or something was dragging you down. Remember why you started. So don't give up now. you started to emotionally detach because you wanted to be better. So when you start filling this void, fill it with things that are going to make you better. Yeah. All right, guys. That is really it for today. Thank you so much for attending my little talk. I will probably be talking more about detachment, especially with the season that I'm going through right now. I think it's also healing for myself, quite honestly. And I love empowering others. Let me know if you guys like these videos. I love yapping, and please like comment down below any other suggestions that you have, or just like quick fixes or any tweaks that you have to whatever content you want to see from me. Thank you. Bye.